Hello guys, welcome back to the Horse Girl Hype. I am your host Michaela, and I know it's been literally forever since I got one of these episodes recorded, and when I tell you I have literally tried to film or record an episode 2 other times. I have tried to sit down, and actually I did film an entire episode I want to say just a couple weeks ago. I sat down, talked for an hour, and I still don't know what happened, but the program that I used to record on crashed and lost the whole recording. My camera that I was using was like, the battery was dying and the storage was getting full, and it was just a whole mess. I was trying to just sit down and record an episode and chit chat with you guys, and it just wasn't meant to be. So yeah, I've been trying. It just hasn't been working out, and I've been giving up. So I'm not even going to try to figure out the camera today. It's just me sitting here on my couch, and I'm just not even going to deal with it right now. So I'll put a lovely picture here for you guys to look at, but I hope everybody's been having an awesome start to the summer and getting lots of ride time in and going to all your shows and rodeos and everything. Last month in May, I was kind of annoyed with myself because we literally, I had things going on every single weekend. I didn't get near as much ride time in as I wanted to. The first 2 weekends of the month I had to work. And I had to work those because the second 2 weekends of the month, we had family events and we're traveling. So we were in Minnesota like middle of May. And that was really fun. We went to the Mall of America, did some shopping and stuff, and up there for the week. So that was fun and got to see family. We had my cousin's wedding up there, so we got to just enjoy that. And it was cold anyways. And then the last weekend in May, we were in Missouri visiting Thomas's family and just enjoying that and spending time with them. So I didn't get a whole lot of ride time in the month of May, which feels like I'm super behind, but I'm trying to remind myself that like February and March and April were really nice, and I've gotten actually a lot done this year. So it just feels like since the summer started, I haven't been able to get anything done, but I really have gotten a lot done this year. I'm trying to remember back at all the things that I need to like fill you guys in on, because I talked all about it in the last episode that I tried to record and lost the whole thing. So the weather's finally coming around. Hopefully anybody here listening that might be from Canada, I hope everybody is safe and your horses are safe. I know there's wildfires going on. I'm not totally sure where they're at. But since these wildfires have been going on, I didn't even know about them until like a week ago. But I remember there was one day that was really kind of just hazy. And I was driving, I think I might have been pulling the trailer somewhere. I was driving along and there was just this like haze sitting in the sky, and I thought to myself like, gee, are there wildfires somewhere, because there's just this haze lingering around. And then I found out like the next week that there's these wildfires going on in Canada. So hopefully everybody is safe from that. Yeah, it's been very odd like weather lately. I mean, just this whole last couple weeks has been really just cloudy, hazy. The air quality hasn't been that good. I know some local barns like have canceled lessons on certain days because the air quality has been so poor, and it's just been like muggy and overcast. So yeah, it hasn't been great riding weather, but we're getting along, we're getting by. In April, I took Rojo and Bill to the vet and got them gelded. So those 2 boys are geldings now. If you didn't see the vlog, I did vlog it the best I could. And oh no, not Rojo, Chance. Did I say Rojo? I took Bill and Chance to get gelded. Those are the 2 that got gelded. So that went over really well. They have been healing really well. I haven't noticed any like swelling or anything. They're still like peeing fine. But they got gelded finally. I really held off a long time on Chance because he just has been so up and down with like his health and things. And he was so stunted and behind on growth that I just wanted to like push it off as long as possible so that he could hopefully hang on to some of those hormones if they would help him grow or anything. I don't really know. I don't know if they have or not. So he is 3 this year, and we got him gelded. But you know what's really weird is like he is 3, but he has never looked twice at a mare. I mean, he has never had any sort of inklings. I know some people were like, you're probably going to have foals and stuff, like if Chance has been with any mares. And I'm like, well, he hadn't been with any mares for a while, but even when he was with them, he literally had no idea. Never batted an eye, never lifted his lip. Like, he was the bottom of the totem pole. He gets beat up and stuff, but yeah, nothing at all. No studly behavior whatsoever. No like signs of puberty or anything. They were actually, his nuts were still pretty high up in there. They weren't even like fully dropped. So I had my suspicions that he was cryptorchid, but they were low enough down that she didn't really have to like go digging for them or anything like that. So it was kind of interesting when I took them, because like you'll see in the vlog, I got to stand there and watch her perform the procedure on both of them. And she was kind of talking to me about like where she's cutting and like what she's cutting. So they basically just make a slit on each side, well, on each nut basically. Where each nut is, she just makes a little slit and then pulls the nut out. And she kind of has to push the skin back high enough to make the cut where she needs. They have like these just big, they almost look like crimpers, but they have a blade on it, so it does cut. But she crimps them off and then cuts it. And the cord that like attaches to the testicle just makes this big crunch sound, which I guess is like a horse thing. That's just normal for horses, but it's not really that way for like other animals, I guess. So she was showing me kind of where she was cutting and stuff, and how you have to go up high enough to get the epididymis out. And what happens a lot of times for people is like when the vet doesn't push the skin back far enough and she can't cut high enough up the cord, they don't get the epididymis, or they don't get all of it. And that's when a horse becomes like proud cut, is when they don't get it all, or they leave part of it in there. And so those hormones are still kind of acting present and stuff like that. So if you think your horse is proud cut, that's kind of the science behind it, is usually they don't get the epididymis, or they don't get all of the epididymis. So your horse will still have like studly tendencies. But Bill was much more dropped than Chance was, and Bill is a year now. He turned a year in May sometime. We don't know his actual birthday, of course, but he would have been a year in May. So he is a true like colt and got gelded at an appropriate time for him. But Chance, he was still very like up high, very small. And so, yeah, it just is what it is. But they both healed and recovered very well. They don't even like suture up like the slits where they make, like where they take the testicles out and stuff. They just leave the hole open, which was kind of surprising. I was like, you don't like staple it or suture it up or anything? And the vet said no, because they like want the area to be able to drain and stuff like that. So basically they just leave it open, keep an eye on it, and let it kind of close up on its own. So thought that was interesting. And then, yeah, didn't really get to ride in May. Although I have had a lot of client horses come through this year for like spring tune-ups and stuff. So in April, I had 3 in April. Let's count. I think there's been 4 or 5 altogether. And then I have a horse in on consignment right now. So it's not that I haven't been riding at all, I just haven't been riding my own horses as much as I should be. So, Stella and Misty are both coming along pretty good though. You know, they're nice kind of refreshing projects because they don't like regress really, and they have like basic life skills. Even if I give them a long break, it's kind of just picking right up where we left off. News also with Chance is that he decided to slice his eyelid off. Was that last month? I think maybe the month before, maybe it was in April, I don't remember. But he like totally just like sliced his eyelid off. You know how when girls wear fake eyelashes, they just like grab the corner of it and peel it off? That's what it looked like he did, but he took his whole eyelid. So from the back corner of his eye almost all the way to the front, he like peeled off. And I have no idea what he did it on. No idea like when I guess it happened. I know like it happened same day, I believe. But I actually was doing a lesson, and my lesson kid had noticed his eye, and so they had gotten here before me. So when I got home, his parent was like, "Hey, there might be something wrong with Chance's eye," and I was like, "Oh, yep, that's not normal." And his eyelid was just hanging there. In the like front corner of his eye by his tear duct, it was still attached a little bit, but not by very much. And it wasn't bloody or anything, so I'm guessing it happened pretty early in the day, or overnight, and I didn't see it till obviously the next evening. So I did call the vet. It seems like a common injury. Like I know some people whose horses have done the same thing and they get it stitched back on or whatever, but the vet looked at it, didn't think that it was going to suture very well. It was probably too much of a rip or something, and the wound was like too old. So he actually ended up just snipping it off. And Chance, like, he still has enough eyelid to where his eye will actually close all the way. If he had torn too much of it off where his eye wouldn't close, then we would have probably done something else. But he still has enough eye to blink and actually close his eye all the way. So honestly, looking at him now, it's all healed up. It healed up really nicely. Looking at him now, you wouldn't like know he did anything to his eye. I mean, if you look closely at him, he does not have eyelashes on the one side now. But like you wouldn't even know that he tore it off. But yeah, we just ended up snipping it all the way off, and he actually behaved so well for that. We didn't sedate him or anything, because it was holding on by so little. The vet literally had to make like 2 little snips with his scissors and it was off. So it was like, do we pay the $100-something to sedate him when this is literally going to take 3 seconds? So we just held him really still. He kind of jerked, when he snipped, but it was only like 2 or 3 snips and it was done. So it was like, only took us a second and it was over. So, yeah, he did really, really good. And it bled and stuff, but it just kind of closed up and healed up on its own. But let's see, after that, I want to say a week or 2 after that, I noticed that he was developing a white spot in his eye. And I took a picture of that. It was getting really teary and stuff. And, of course they have the round bales out there. So like he sticks his head down in the round bale and stuff, and I'm sure was irritating it. It was all teary and constantly like dripping. So his eyelid and everything looked fine and was healing really well, but his actual eyeball had just a little cloudy spot in it. So, and I'll try to put that on the screen if I remember and if I can get it in here. But I talked to the vet about that. I was like, he seems to be seeing out of it fine and stuff still, but it is developing like this little cloudy spot. So I'm guessing we think that when he did whatever he did to his eye and tore his eyelid off, he probably actually injured or scratched his eyeball. Not severe enough to really do a whole lot of damage to it, but enough to cause like that little injury mark in his eye. And when they get kind of cloudy like that, is not always like a detrimental thing. It's just the eye trying to protect that area and heal itself. So I had to put eye drops in his eye, like antibiotic drops in his eye for 2 weeks, twice a day for 2 weeks, which for the most part he was really good about. There was a couple times that he was getting tired of me and we had to have a little come to Jesus moment. But for the most part, he was really good and just let me do it and get it over with. But yeah, so Chance has been kind of all over the place lately. I think he got kind of wormy this spring again, which it always seems to happen with him. I've owned him 3 years now, so it always seems like in the spring he gets wormy more than anybody else, because he'll like kind of drop weight again and kind of look really crappy, and then he won't shed out his hair all the way, so I'll deworm him and that will kind of help, but it doesn't totally help. So this year I dewormed him twice, and that finally seemed to like really make him feel better. I mean, he was running around out there and he was eating a lot better, he was looking a lot better, like he was starting to fill back out again and stuff, and shedded out the rest of his hair. So he seems just like he's probably more immunocompromised and susceptible to things like that, because the other 2 boys were great. I mean, Rojo and Bill, I dewormed them, and I just dewormed them for just regular routine purposes, but like they didn't look like they really needed it, like Chance did. So I don't know. I have been kind of struggling with the thought of selling Chance lately. And I don't mean anytime soon, but like in the future. My intention when I bought him or got him from that girl that rescued a whole bunch of them was to keep him forever and have him be like one of my next main horses. But he is 3 this year and he still looks like a yearling. I mean, he's teeny tiny. He looks healthy, like, I mean, he's filled out more, but he does have a lot more issues like maintaining weight. He seems more susceptible to getting sick and getting parasites and stuff. But I'm worried that he's never really going to get a lot bigger than this. And who knows, like, I know some people that have told me that their quarter horses, like, didn't actually grow and get big until they were, like, 5. And that's totally possible. But with as small as he is still, I'm just kind of thinking, like, was his neglect in the womb and as a newborn, like, enough to stunt him probably permanently? It really could have been. And so, I don't know. If he doesn't get a whole lot bigger than this, I probably will sell him eventually. Just because he is literally too small for me to ride. Like, even if I'm able to break him out and make him like a nice little kid's pony, or even if I sold him to like a 10-year-old that wanted a project horse or something like that, he's an amazing horse. I mean, he is such a little snuggler. Like, he loves people. He loves being around people. I think he'd be so easy to break out, but he is just too small. He's probably the same size as Blue, and Blue I can ride, but like she is like filled out and a lot thicker and wider, and like, you know, she's more mature, and like it's no problem for her to carry me. Chance is still like, he's so small and like has such little like muscle, like he literally looks like a yearling still. Like, he looks so underdeveloped. And like, you know, we've done blood work and stuff on him and everything seems healthy with him, but I just think he's probably stunted to the point that I don't know that I'm ever going to really be able to ride him other than to break him out. And even so, I might need some like smaller kids help with that. And if he does thicken and get more muscular and kind of widen, you know, fill out more, he's still going to be a pony. So that's, you know, not what I need, because I'm really honestly not focusing on lessons much anymore. I will do some for like friends and family that want them, but I just don't need like another lesson pony to just sit around. which is why I actually have Blue leased out this summer. So Blue is with a friend of mine. If you've been watching the vlogs, that's why you haven't really seen her in the vlogs or anything, is because she is leased out to a friend that has a big lesson program, and she does like camps and stuff. Like, that's her thing, is lessons. So Blue is off being a little lesson pony, and the kids love her. She was kind of a handful when she first got there because her ground manners are not great. No matter how much you work on them, it's literally like she doesn't learn anything. She's just a rotten pony. But they've been riding her a lot, and I stopped at one of the shows they were at to see her, and actually had to take her some vaccines. And she was just quiet as could be, and this little girl was loving on her, and it was just good. I was just glad to see her like getting used and worked and stuff. But yeah, if Chance is going to kind of be down that same boat, I think it would be in his best interest if I just kind of got him started and, sold him down the line as a kid's horse or something like that, because I just don't need another little pony sitting around, which breaks my heart because I love Chance. Like, I love him so much. He's just the best little buddy. He's just such a nice boy, and it's going to break my heart to sell him. But if he can be a nice little kid's horse for a family or something, he deserves to be loved on by some kids and stuff, not just sit around here. But yeah, we'll just see what happens. Maybe for some reason next year he'll get this big growth spurt and he'll shoot up a whole hand or two. I don't know. But fingers crossed. Bill and Rojo really haven't been doing anything this spring because I haven't been home or done anything. So this fall, I probably will start Rojo on like just doing some groundwork and some saddling and stuff. But he's only 2, so I'm not like in a rush to start him or anything. Just kind of, when we go camping, I'll take them and bring them along to get them in a new environment and hopefully pony them on some trail rides and stuff. But, right now they're just being babies and they're just growing up. This winter, though, I have talked to some trainers about sending Bill off to get started on driving this winter. But I want to send him to a driving horse trainer, like somebody that knows what they're doing, has done draft horses, has trained horses to drive, has the equipment for it and stuff like that. The guy that I'm interested in, he mainly does Percherons, but draft horse. So we'll probably send him off for a few months just to, get hitched up with, some experienced driving horses, how they kind of like pony the babies along off the big horses, just to get him exposed to the cart, kind of understand what his job is, what's going on. Hopefully they'll harness him up and get him maybe ground driving, and I don't know, maybe a small little cart behind him. But nothing too extensive. I mean, by then he'll be a year and a half old, which is, younger than normal. But I want him to go while he's still a reasonable size and with people that know what they're doing. And the guy did tell me, like, you can drive them at a year and a half. You just can't, like, pack a heavy load on them or anything, which is fine. I don't want to, like, put a big load on him. It will probably be a few years down the road before we, save up to buy, like, a cart or a wagon or anything for him to pull. But somebody that can get him started and maybe we can come down and do some lessons with them and stuff would be ideal. So I'm going to be saving my money and stuff for that to send Bill somewhere and, get him a good foundation and get him a little education and stuff. So this month, though, present time, I have been able to make a couple trail rides. Let's see, it was last weekend now. And I was able to take both Stella and Misty on some rides. So there's this little group in the area that does fox hunting, and they'll get together and they'll do these hunts and stuff. And don't get me wrong, I don't know anything about fox hunting, but their club has opened up to the public for trail rides. So like once a month this summer, they're going to get together and they're going to do some trail rides. So we went to one of those last weekend, and it was really nice. Got with some people. I knew some of the people, some of the other ones I didn't know, but I took Sugar and we ponied along Misty, and she did awesome. She did so good. Sugar is very slow moving, so most of the time we were in the back, but we rode in the back a lot, and Misty like didn't rush. She wasn't trying to like pull on me and get up with the other horses at all. She just hung out right by Sugar, and we rode in the middle a little bit, and she was great with that. There was, I think it was the property owner's dogs following us and running around behind us and everything, and at the horse's feet, and Misty didn't care at all, which is great because like I don't have a dog that runs around here loose anymore. So like these horses that I have now aren't really used to dogs doing that. Growing up, like with Soccer and Sugar and BB and stuff, we had the dog at my dad's house, and so they were totally used to dogs being around. But I don't really have that anymore. So really the only time that they are exposed to dogs running is like when Mel brings out her dogs, which is good for them. I want them to be used to that. Sugar cared more about the dog than Misty did. She was like, whatever. She went over a little bridge. She went through multiple water crossings, like big, wide, like good size water crossings. Some of them were really deep mud. And she did great. I don't even think she looked at him. She just walked right over him with Sugar, no problem. So she did great. She didn't try to lay down and roll at all. I was really happy with how she did, and I ponied her along saddled, because I just want her to spend as much time with that saddle on as possible. And yeah, she was awesome. So I was really happy with how she did. And then the next day, I went riding with a friend / client, and we went over to one of the state parks. We haven't really been to, it's like an hour north of us, but there's a little state park with some trails, and we'd never been there. She had been there to like hike and stuff, but never to ride. So we went up there. I took Stella and ponied her off of BB, and they both did very good. BB barely even broke a sweat, so she did great. Stella, she's, she's older than Misty is, so she's like not as fit and young and stuff. So I could tell after about an hour and a half, she was getting kind of tired, just kind of moseying along. I took, one of my rope halters has like this really long green lead rope on it, and I took that one, which I'm glad because Stella did really good. She ponied along with BB awesome. I had her saddled as well, and she was doing great. But once she started to get kind of tired, she would lag back way behind BB, and so I gave her a bunch of rope, and she did good. She kept following us along and stuff. She didn't pull on me or anything, but it was just kind of funny. She was like, I'm gonna just slow down back here. She crossed water twice, which took her a minute. It wasn't anything bad. She just kind of got to like the edge of the water and just kind of stopped there. So I just kept some tension on the lead rope until eventually she stepped forward into the water. But it takes her like 60 seconds or so, and then she's like, okay, and goes across. Which this was the first time I had even hauled Stella anywhere since I got her a year ago. So I picked this day because we weren't necessarily on a set time. Like the public trail rides, they have like a set start time. Like we ride at 10 a.m., be there or miss the ride basically. But since, we were just meeting up with a friend, I was like, okay, let's see if I can get Stella in the trailer today, and we'll take her. And so Thomas was home and he helped me, but she basically hopped right in the trailer. I just walked her up to it. And now BB was in there first. I always like to, with the newer ones, if I'm not sure if they're going to load really well, load a horse in front of them that'll just walk right on. Because then at least they can see the other horse step up and into it and make them feel a little more comfortable that, they have a buddy in there. So, she just got up to the edge of the door to the trailer, and same thing with the water. She just needed to look at it for like a minute. Look at the floor, look at the ceiling, hear the banging noises and stuff. And then once she was ready, she just stepped up right in there. So that was awesome. And then same thing at the trail when we were done riding. She just hopped right in the trailer. So that was awesome. I was really glad to see that she was confident enough to just get in the trailer. But she did really good also. She's been dealing with some heaves this summer. I've noticed she gets a little bit heavy, and it seems to flare up definitely in this hot weather. But there was a round bale that I gave them that it wasn't that great. It was from last year. Didn't really look that moldy, but I think it was just brown and dusty. And I think that really made them flare up, to the point that I even noticed that she had them. And now she gets, labored breathing in the hot, muggy weather like this. And I mean, with the air quality being poor also doesn't really help. But when she gets heavy and she can't breathe that well, she doesn't like to eat. So I've been kind of balancing that. If any of you guys have a horse that's like that, let me know if you have any tips or anything, because I'm kind of like, she does need to build her top line. She's got a pretty good hay belly, but she really needs to build that muscle back along her top line, which is why I wanted to start taking her on some trails to actually, start working those back muscles again. But let me know what you guys use. The horse that I have in on consignment right now, they give him this Heave Ho supplement, and I'll have to look up where they get it, but it's called Heave Ho. And they said it works really great for him, that they don't have any issues. I do have some Dex solution that I got from the vet for Sugar, because Sugar also can get heavy sometimes, especially when she's starting to work really hard. She can get coffee and stuff. So I have some around, and I do give it to Stella when I notice she seems like she's breathing more labored and things. But it doesn't always do the trick. So let me know if you guys have any tips or anything. But those two girls are doing really good, thankfully, and I'm just excited to keep them rolling this summer. Now that I have a client horse here now to be started. They haven't been getting work as much as they were, but I just need to stay on them. Get them back out on the weekends. The weekends are kind of my time for my horses. They're I deal with the client horses during the week, and then the weekends is my horse time. So yeah, that's pretty much what's been going on here for right now. I did find a home for Ethel. So Ethel's gone. I found her a little pasture pet home that she could retire at. So Chance is now living with BB. Oh, I also... If any of you guys have any input or have ever done this, but I'm thinking since Chance and BB are together now, I figured they would go, be good partners together, because BB is nice to everybody. She's not really going to pick on him or anything, but they also both eat grain. So I've been thinking about switching them to a Marin foal feed, because They get senior feed right now, just because of BB's IMM and stuff. I try to keep her on a high protein type of feed, and senior feed is usually higher in protein. But I was looking at feed at Tractor Supply last time I was there, and I was looking at the Marin foal. The Marin foal is 16% protein. And that's the highest protein grain I've seen anywhere. I've never even considered Marin foal, so it didn't even dawn on me to look there. But that's the highest protein I've ever seen for a grain. And so I think it might be really good for her. And since she already just doesn't develop muscle properly, to put her on that. So if anybody's ever fed Marin foal to a horse that's not in foal, let me know if it caused you any issues or anything. But I think that might be a good option for her. And it might be a good option for Chance too, because he is always like up and down with his weight. So let me know your thoughts on that. I did start her on a supplement this year, an amino acid supplement. It's just, I think it's L-lysine, which when I was researching about amino acids and stuff, since they're like the building blocks of muscle development and whatever, I found L-lysine for a really good price on Chewy, so I ordered that, and I haven't really noticed any difference in her, honestly, but, you know, maybe throughout the summer I'll notice some difference and, you know, me riding her and stuff, but hopefully that will help. Just anything that can build her muscle up as much as humanly possible. If any of you guys are new, BB has IMM. I think they call it MYHM now, but it's the same disease. So her muscle atrophies really bad along her top line, and she's totally healthy in every other way. She's on 24/7 feed, grain every day. And, you know, the vet, we've done all kinds of work on her, and that is the only thing that we could find wrong with her was she tested positive for IMM, which is like a genetic, I guess I shouldn't say, it's a gene mutation. It comes from the virus of strangles, and it's really only prevalent or common in quarter horses or quarter horse types, but yeah, it's like your PSSM, your HYPP, MYHM is like one of those as well, but this is what the vet told me, and the research I've done on it is that it like comes from the strangles virus, and it can be, you know, whether your horse actually got strangles and got infected with it, or it can come from the vaccine as well. So I actually know quarter horse people now that don't even vaccinate for strangles anymore because of the risk of their horse getting IMM. She can be a carrier for it basically, and it's hard to say what will trigger it, but for some reason something in her triggered it. I think this is our third year now, 3 years ago. So yeah, it's tough, and we try to manage it as best we can with her, but it's tough when your horse literally just doesn't retain muscle mass like a normal horse should, or like an average healthy horse would. That you're doing everything right nutritionally, but, you know, just nothing works because of the genetic factor. So it's really tough. I don't even really ride her that much, like out on like public rides. You know, if I'm just going with me and my close friends that know that she has her condition and stuff, then I don't care. But I've gone on some public rides and stuff where people are like, how old is that horse? Or like, you know, what do you feed that horse? And I'm like, I swear to God, she eats as much as she possibly could ever want. And she's not that old. She just has a condition. When people say things like, I saw a TikTok a while back, and it was like a couple girls at some rodeo or something, and it said like, if you pull up in an $80,000 rig and your horses are skinny, we get to beat you up or something. And basically insinuating like, if you have enough money to buy an $80,000 trailer, then feed your fucking horses. Which I totally do get. And I've also seen videos of people like coming up to other people at shows or at jackpots and whatever, and, you know, telling them that their horse needs weight and stuff like that. And honestly, I guess if I didn't have a horse with IMM, I wouldn't really know. But now that I do, and now that I know how hard it is and how limited my help is going to be for her, like, when I see videos like that, I'm just kind of like, you know, you just honestly, you don't know everything. And don't assume that just because somebody has a horse that is under muscled or needs some weight on it, just don't assume that means they don't feed their horse. Because There are people like me with a horse with IMM that literally do everything they can. They buy high protein hay, alfalfa hay, the highest protein grain you can find, the supplements, the beet pulp, the alfalfa pellets, and it doesn't matter how much I push at her, she will not develop muscle like an average healthy horse because of the genetic mutation. So now that I'm not so, I guess, ignorant, and I've got this knowledge, and I know other people that like have thoroughbreds that are just insanely hard keepers and have other like health conditions, just horses with other health conditions, that it's not always just that like I'm just not feeding her. It's like if you see somebody pull up in a really expensive, nice rig and they get a horse out and they're skinny, don't just be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they spend all that money on a trailer, but they can't even feed their horses. You have no idea how much somebody might be dumping into feed and vet bills on that horse to try to figure out what's going on, and nothing's working. Because the summer that BB started to drop weight and I couldn't figure out what was wrong with her, I literally had her at the vet like twice a month. Like, we were constantly going to the vet. I was trying everything. I had her separated from the other horses and was giving her her own like big flake of alfalfa hay, like the big square bales, like her own alfalfa hay. She was getting a whole bunch of beet pulp, a whole bunch of grain, weight building powder, oil. We did blood work. We did fecals, deworming, teeth, like trying to find literally anything you possibly could to figure out what was wrong with her, and everything was coming back normal and healthy until we did the muscle biopsy to send off for the genetic testing, and that's when it came back positive for something. So, you know, like the vet has always told me she's healthy otherwise. Other than this muscle atrophy, there's nothing else wrong with her. So if she's healthy and she's comfortable and your tack fits well and it's well padded, like, you don't need to just stop riding her. She doesn't need to retire. And so I'm kind of in the boat where I'm like, well, BB is a type of horse that likes to work. She likes to have a job. And so I'm going to give her a job as long as she is telling me that she's not in pain and that she's not hurting, like, and she wants to keep going and she wants to work, then like I'm gonna work her. So if I pull up to another show, don't just assume that my horse is starved because her top line looks bad, you know. That's unfortunately just how she's gonna look. And even the vet like told me there's only so much you're gonna be able to do. Her muscle is going to atrophy much faster than a regular horse, so we can maintain it as much as we possibly can, but it's not just like something you can just fix, you know. IMM, from what I know, there is treatment for it if you catch it early enough, but it's like a 50-50 chance if it's going to be effective. So yeah, it's just I'm at the point now where I really try not to jump to conclusions about other people and their horses. And in the endurance world too, there's a lot of like Arabs and, you know, just other crosses and stuff that, gosh, those horses work so hard and they're like in peak health. But some of them are harder keepers than others. That doesn't mean that they're being denied care. But yeah, so anyways, I don't remember what I was going to say before I started going on about the mare and foal. Oh, the mare and foal. So Freedom, I took to the breeders earlier this month, a couple weeks ago. So she has been off with her new boyfriend for a couple weeks now. That's kind of why I bought her, was as a broodmare prospect. So she has had a baby before. She's not maiden. So I found a younger stallion. He's, I think this is going to be like his first year of kind of like test crop foals. So he's a younger stallion, fairly local, I think a little over an hour from us. So I took her there earlier this month. She's been there a couple weeks and I vlogged that too if you guys want to go watch that vlog. But yeah, I think our chances are pretty good. I left her there for a whole month, so I'm not going to pick her up till the beginning of July. I figured that would be plenty of time for her to cycle and whatnot. So I dropped her off, and literally within like the same afternoon, the stallion owner messaged me that he had already bred her twice, which they're doing like live cover, okay? So she's just turned out in the pasture with the stud, and he bred her twice on the first day. So we're guessing that I must have lined this up like perfectly with her cycle somehow, which I did not do intentionally. And I'm hoping that he doesn't breed her too much to like give her an infection or something. But well, hopefully one of those little swimmers crossed the finish line. And but in the chance that they didn't, if she didn't take that, you know, she's there the whole month, so he'll have time to breed her again. But she is getting checked kind of towards the end of this month. I'm not sure which day yet, but the stallion owner had her own mares that needed checked by the vet. So she's going to get preg checked while she's still there. And then I guess if she's not pregnant, I'll leave her there a little longer. If she is pregnant, great. She can come home. And then I'll probably have her preg checked again maybe a month later. So like beginning of August or something. We'll just kind of see how things go. She hasn't had a baby in several years, so I know it's been a long time, but hopefully her body will kind of remember what's going on and stuff. So I'm excited for that. So next year we will have a foal if she is pregnant and holds the pregnancy. And yeah, so that colt won't be a project for like another 3 years. So I was telling my client about this the other day, and she was like, wow, you're going to have your hands full with all those horses. I'm like, yeah, but this baby horse, like, it's going to be a year till he's even here, and then it's going to be like 3 years before I even start that one. So really, it's like, it'll be here, but it won't really be on my radar a whole lot until it's older. So I got the plan. We got this year Stella and Misty, and then next year we'll have Bill and Rojo, and we'll see about Chance, I guess. And then the year after that we'll have, we'll focus on the baby a little more, but we'll just see how things go. Hopefully she takes and that goes smoothly. I haven't heard anything from the stallion owner in a while, so I'm assuming she is behaving herself. When I dropped her off, she was like, she had this little like small pasture turnout with some grass and stuff that we put her in separately. And she was totally content with just munching on the grass and looking around at stuff, and she was really good. So I think they took the stallion and put the stallion out with Freedom separately for a day to get them like acquainted and stuff before throwing her out with the other mares. I am still kind of working away at our endurance ride. I am managing an endurance ride this year in August, at the end of August, and so we're kind of working away on that. I'll be honest, it's been really tough and kind of frustrating. There's just like so much behind the scenes stuff that like goes into putting on an endurance ride, and I feel like we have an okay start on it, or like we're doing okay on it. We've got some sponsors, we've got some merch, we've got some prizes, but we still need to figure out like just all the little details. Like we do a potluck or like a provided meal Saturday night after the first rides, and we do awards and stuff. So we need somebody to like bring the meal in, and then we need like water tubs for along the trail. If you've ever rode endurance, you know that there's usually like trail stops and like tanks and stuff that you can let your horse drink and whatnot. So we need to figure out those. Who's gonna play ambulance? So we have to have somebody like on standby to play ambulance if somebody gets hurt. Who's gonna do that? Just all kinds of stuff. I think I'm gonna go down there early and scope out the trails. I would really like to go next month or early in August and just go ride the trails, kind of get an idea for how things look, and the map and stuff like that, and just get a good baseline down for for the map, this is the same park that we've had it at in the past. So me and the previous ride manager are pretty much managing this entire ride. But she will have a pretty good idea of like the normal loops. We're going to have a 6-mile intro, 12-mile novice, 30-mile LD, I think a 30-mile comp, and then your 50 and 100 endurance. So a lot going on and trying to figure that out. But I've never managed an endurance ride before, so this is planning and stuff is very new to me. I don't really know what I'm doing, but I've been really good at getting the prizes and the merch. So right now I'm having a turtle award made. I know a guy that can do some little welding, and I'm going to give him a bunch of horseshoes, and he's going to weld them into a turtle for me. And I'm hoping to put like a little cowboy on top of it riding the turtle, and that will be like our turtle award trophy. That's the one thing I love about endurance is they have just like fun awards like that, like the turtle award. And like awards can be literally anything. Like I think in the past I've seen them make like pillowcases or quilts or like just little like stitched, engraved, I don't know, rags and towels and stuff like that. So it's fun when you get stuff that you can actually like use and stuff that's cute like that. But yeah, so I'm gonna have that made as our little turtle award. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I think that's all my updates for now. I think that's all I have to talk about for now. So thanks so much for listening. If you made it this far, my train of thought is starting to just kind of wander off and not really know what I'm talking about. So I think I'm going to go ahead and end this here. But hope you guys enjoyed. Sorry it's been so long. I'm going to try not to go this long without an episode. But enjoy your summer. And until I see you guys next time, stay safe in Canada. Happy riding season. And take care of your horses. Bye, guys.